with Kamina, and I play a lot of anime fighters here at Climax at night. I started with Melty Blood, Current Code, the old version, and then I kind of went from that to Under Night and Type Lumina as well.
Okay, so for the folks just like me confused because there's like 5 different types of melty blood. What's going on here? Like
Five
what
different
like
types.
what's the better melty blood? Let's ask that first.
Ooh, the better Melty Blood. I think it's preference, honestly. It comes down to preference because everybody's got their different answer. If you're playing like old Melty, then what you're dealing with is like some really messed up like mix-ups and stuff like that you really got to keep an eye on. If you think of like the way how Guilty Gear, like some of the old style like fighting games had like messed up mix-ups without some sort of like pause button like a lot of games have, where like Under Night has chain shift where like you can pause to see what's going to happen. Type Lumina has like the moon activation, you can kind of pause to see what's going on and then try to retaliate. Melty Blood Current Code does not have something like that. You're gonna have to make like an educated guess or a good read at what your opponent's gonna do next, or just block. You can't just block. That's always an option.
Okay.
But it's definitely a tougher game to kind of deal with like this, because there's some monster like characters in the top tiers.
In terms of like the top tiers and things like that, what's one character that you despise playing
Oh.
against? It doesn't have to be melty blood. It could be any game. One character that you despise playing against.
I definitely like hate fighting Sea Roa, which is like Crescent Moon Roa in Current Code, because like he's a top tier in Current Code, and like he makes it so hard to get in, like because he just sets up. He's the type of character that like stocks up these orbs, and then when he sets them up, they shoot like lightning bolts, and it's like pretty much almost like full screen.
Okay.
So you really have to like try to make your way like around like that, like navigate around like you normally do with a zoner, to try and get around him. But he can like store and stock those up so fast, and like it can really mess you up.
Okay.
And it's tough to like fight on defense because like the little thunderbolts do a lot of like chip and stuff like that too. So you can't die from chip in that game, but it does a lot for like an anime fighter where like you get hit and like you get a counter hit, and the amount of stun that you can get can go on for like years.
Someone trying to get into the FGC, what is one piece of advice that you would give to them?
I would say go to your locals. Like, go to your locals. It's important because those are really like the cornerstone of like what builds up a community, what kind of makes tournaments like these happen, because those are like the grassroots. Where I came from in Melty Blood, this was before like the next level venue that we have now, where they play, if anyone's ever seen it, they play stuff like Street Fighter and Tekken and all that other stuff. Melty, where we started, we didn't have next level or any of that stuff. We only had Chinatown Fair, but even then, like they only had like one cabinet, and by the time I was playing, we had like maybe the corner of the room, because the game that we had was on laptop. That was like the latest version of Melty at the time. This is the one before the one that people play now, and we had a space in the corner, but then like it wasn't really vibing because we had so many people. It was going to be cramped. So eventually we go down to the park that's nearby, and there's a Snapple machine, and the Snapple machine in the outlet has some power. So we're just like, let's make this work. So like some dudes who like passed by the park before, they checked it to make sure that the Snapple machine had power when they plugged it in. And they're like, yeah, we can have a tournament with this. So that day when we actually are doing stuff, plugged it into the outlet, had the laptop there, and we had the tournament out in the park. Like that was called Battle by the Gazebo. It's a classic. Like if you ask somebody like Shinobi, who like runs the tournament here, he knows this, because like me and him go back a long time too, because we played old Melty back then. We went through the same like top tiers and all the other stuff. We know the struggle. So we kind of just did that for like years, like at the park before like next level eventually came, and we kind of moved in there and had our tournaments there. But without that grassroots stuff, started as the foundation, we didn't have like it was a good way to make friends and stuff like that. And when you connect with other people like that, you get to connect with the stronger players, and you can play like matches with them, and that's how you really get good. For me and my friend who's like really good at Melty now, he's in top 32 in Lumina right now. He's doing really well. Me and him, we used to go over by Spooky's house. Spooky, and everybody knows, Spooky's with Team Spooky. Yeah, we go by Spooky's house, and Spooky invited my friend over because he saw he was trying to play Spooky's character. So he would go by and they play sets like late into the night. Like we stay the night, and we just be playing the matches like all night. And we played with like two of like the really good players from our region, and that's how we got good. That was what we called the hyperbolic time chamber.
Right.
Because we'd be locked in that room, and we'd be playing like the whole night. And then we might have like a tournament the next day. You know, we have a gazebo tournament the next day. So that's how we like got better, because they would tell us what to do during matches. Or like I could feel like my neutral getting better in that game as like I played more with them and played more matches in general, because I got used to being in those like tight pressure situations. So like I was blocking more, or like my friend would tell me, he's like, you gotta block more, bro. It's like you don't have to keep mashing or like, you know, try to do this and that. So like I got a sense of like getting better defense, and like knowing where to mash is important. So like when you're playing someone so much constantly, you find where all those spots where they're minus are, like where their frames are minus, and then it's like, oh, okay, I saw him do that, I can mash now.
Right.
Or you have a sense of their play style, so you know like, oh, this is where they're gonna grab, so I can mash here.
Right,
So
right,
stuff
right,
like
right.
that was like super helpful.
Okay.
So you know, go out to your locals, make friends with the people. I think a good way to just making friends with people is just playing matches. You know, and be chill about it. You don't have to like get heated or tight when you're doing like bad. You know, so maybe talk to the person next to you and ask like, you know, what could I have done better in the matchup? And they'll and you know, and a good person will talk to you. They'll yap to you if they're really into it.
Facts,
If they're really into it, they'll
facts,
yap to
facts.
you, and you'll never leave.
Yeah, no.
But you'll never leave.
We're gonna say you were from the golden age of FGC, where it was cabinets, you know, actual fight sticks. There was actual skill on the line. How do you feel about these modern fighting games that are taking, you know, motion inputs out? We have 2XKO. We have, you know, Tekken 8. We have this heat system, oppression of offense, and not a showcase of skill, as you will.
So you're asking like, what do I think about modern fighters nowadays with the easy inputs and like how they're trying to like bring in like more players with like how So I guess from a company standpoint, like I can see what they're trying to do. Obviously, they want to increase like their pool of like where they're getting their money from. Their main resource, which their main source of income, which is like the player base. It should be an option to play a little simpler, but like it shouldn't replace like. The classic way of playing a game. If anything, playing in the simple style should come with like its restrictions, like maybe nerf the damage or something like that, or like put something in place where eventually they'll have to learn like the harder inputs, because obviously companies are maybe trying to make baby steps as like an entry into a fighting game, because people might say, oh, the inputs are hard, why doesn't it play more like Smash, where I just need to do side B or something like that. So I think it's just an entryway to like get them to like ease them into a fighting game, because obviously people might have the same things about a fighter coming from like maybe a shooter or something like that, or a different genre. I think they just kind of want to reach out to different genres and have the appeal of fighting games now that it's kind of like in the esports, kind of like the esports kind of space nowadays. So they want to like increase the outreach. So I think they should try to find like a good balance of the best of both worlds, but they shouldn't rely too much on like the easy inputs to like stick there. I think there should be some restriction so that people can eventually learn the harder stuff. I think that should be where they start, maybe with the simple inputs if they've never done a fighter before, but eventually learn the other stuff.
In this modern era, a lot of video games are $70, $80. Do you believe that price tag is justified, or is it just corporate greed?
I don't know if I can agree with like the prices going up like that, because it depends on the game. Like, do you see like Tekken? I mean, Tekken. Tekken's expensive, and then you have to consider all the DLC that comes with it later on. But like somebody who like maybe jumped into the game and got interested like later on in its lifespan, that's a lot of money to shell out if you want to practice against all the characters and like training mode or whatnot. And you kind of lose that advantage trying to do it at home, as opposed to like going to your local and like fighting other people, even if there's somebody that even plays that character. So I don't know if it's justified. Like, I don't know, maybe companies should try other ways to get like their money. I mean, they're like we just talked about, they're already trying to increase their pool of like income by increasing their player base, by trying to attract like other communities probably. So it's just like that inflated price tag, when money's involved, that's universal. That high price tag is going to scare everybody away.
I agree.
So they should definitely like have a standard that is like affordable and like a little bit more accessible. Sure, they're going to make their game more accessible, but I guess they put themselves in a hard place where it's just like you got to appease the new fans and like the ones that are still in like your community base. And I mean, while like, that's fine, a high price tag, everyone's going to say no to.
Do tier lists matter, or are people crying?
Coming from the old days, right? If you had like a broken, busted character, like let's say Third Strike, you have busted characters, right? You're trying to fight against Yun.
What is it? Yun, Ken.
Yun,
Is Dudley OD?
Not that OD.
Not
Like,
that
yeah,
OD,
not that
okay.
OD. I'm forgetting somebody.
Makoto?
Probably Chun's pretty strong too,
Oh,
right?
Chun.
Yeah,
Ooh,
Chun.
boy, okay,
Yeah, versus the top tiers, obviously, there were no like crying about patch updates to immediately patch a game. So what did people do on the cabinets? They labbed. They found out like what they can like press buttons against, what they had to watch out for, how to avoid the checkmate situations. So people have kind of forgotten that. Like they don't want to lab, basically. They don't want to lab. So like if they take their time and lab and figure something out, then you can play the game. Like, look, no matter what game you play, there's always going to be a character sitting in S tier somewhere. Like, they don't have to be obscenely busted. They're going to have like some crazy advantages, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to go to the lab and grind it out against that matchup if it's a poor matchup for you. Now, it's a little messy if that character has like virtually no bad matchups. I think that's a little crazy.
I agree.
And I know sometimes people do have to counter pick. I mean, that's what people were doing in Street Fighter 4 too, right? They like counter pick when they saw a bad matchup for them. So, you're going to have to implement the same thing here with like the internet and like spread of information and like how easy it is to complain to like your developers, your favorite developers now. It's just so easy for people to just kind of like, complain to like to their devs directly.
That is true.
So
it's
I'm sure it's rough for devs, but I mean, yeah, they just need to lab it out, honestly. Get together. If you gotta make like your own private anti Wagner Discord or anti like who's strong in Tekken now? Oscar,
Anna.
Devil J, and Anna.
Is
Yeah,
Anna.
you gotta make your anti Anna Discord with your community. Go ahead, go make it.
Yeah.
Because if there's like a dude, let's say a funny scenario where there's one dude at your local that plays Anna and he's bodying and they're bodying everybody and everyone else in your local hates it. Channel that hate, make a Discord channel and start and start plotting your revenge. Start plotting your revenge, y'all, against that one dude. It's just like if their dude's name is Anna Lover 123, then that's the anti Anna Lover 123 Discord. You'd be like, I hate that dude.
Yeah.
We gotta do something about
gotta
this.
do
You get the
something
round
about that.
table.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta
No,
do.
facts,
So
facts.
come together as a community. That's coming together as a community. They hate.
No,
They hate. That's a. That's a positive. That's the positive. That's the positive.
There's
hate.
gotta be a villain. There's
there's
gotta be a villain, bro.
Yeah. That's
Yo.
the positive hatred. That's
Yeah.
positive. That's channeling hatred in a positive way.
Nah,
yeah.
facts,
You
facts,
can hate
facts.
in a positive way.
Nah,
you ain't gotta say something about somebody's mom.
Nah,
Just
facts.
get
Nah,
the-
facts. That's
get the-
disrespectful.
Nah, don't. That's
Nah, we
disrespectful.
fun to somebody.
We stay out the family. We stay out the family, bro. It's not all in the family. It's out of the family, bro. It is out of the family.
Hey, I appreciate
You already know,
Hey,
bro. You
Hey,
already
we
know.
out, man. We out. Hey, one last question, my bad.
Yeah, what's
Where can
up?
we find you on social media?
Oh, so I am Kamina, Kamikoma. No, sorry.
Okay, can you spell it out for the folks?
I'm Kamina on Twitter. Or yeah, I still call it Twitter. So SKAMINA on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It is never gonna be X. It's always Twitter. All right, drop the mic.
All right.